Welcome to the StreetText demo. We are glad you're here. Are you in the right place? Who's this webinar for? There's 3 different people that find themselves in this webinar. This might be one of you. One, you're thinking about starting a trial. So you haven't started a trial, you just heard about StreetText, you want to learn more before you hit that trial button. Now, just as I mentioned just previously there, you can start it, just get connected and learn more and use your 7 days when it works for you. So feel free to get started and not feel like the clock is ticking. You might have just started a trial. You might have even seen an ad go up. You might even have seen a lead come in already. We're glad you're here because we've had people get excited over results that they could actually have better results in their area. They're like, hey, this is awesome. We're like, hey, your ad's actually not that good in comparison to what's possible. So we're glad you're here because just setting everything up the way it is and just running the one ad, you're going to learn the power of working with the way Facebook does everything in the first 24 hours of running an ad. And we capitalize on that by doing something called a split test. And it's different than common split tests that you may have heard of. If you've heard of A/B split tests, this is completely different. We've done all the A/B split testing. We know what works. Now we got to work with Facebook's logarithm and the way they do things to land on the best audience in terms of return for your leads. So we're going to teach you that today. That's one of the foundational concepts. And then sometimes you're looking for a quick refresher. So we have people here that are part of StreetText, or their members are coming in. They're just looking to see this foundational concept again and coming back for it. So we're glad you're here. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is the inordinate amount of time that people are spending on these devices. This is not a phone. This is a marketing platform and device. And what's being sold on it is the fact that people's attention is here all day, every day. Their faces are in their phone. If you're going to meet people, you need to go where their attention is. But the problem is like, how do I do that? It seems like such a gigantic task to take on. Like, how do I take advantage of the fact that people are touching their phone 2,000 times a day and the average user is spending 2 or more hours on their phone a day? Because it's not an easy task to take on. So oftentimes we notice it, we see people maybe doing really well with social media, but we don't know where to start and we just get frustrated. We might like take on the elephant from time to time, but we get overwhelmed and we just stop. So where do you start? We like to say at StreetText, we can help you eat that elephant. You just got to do it one bite at a time. We'll give you measurable, actionable steps you can start to take to start to layer a process that can transform your business across times in terms of meeting people and growing a database and nurturing new relationships. And more when COVID disrupted kind of the scene, we've learned to use other platforms in order to grow our databases and meet people. And obviously social media is one of them. The problem lies in this, the Facebook Ads Manager. Has anybody used the Facebook Ads Manager before? If you have, we can tell by the stress lines on your face and maybe the loss of hair. It's not an easy platform to use. The Facebook Ads Manager more and more is being built for people that have gigantic departments that are working full-time to take care of gigantic ad campaigns. It's no longer being built for the solo entrepreneur to be able to go in and use. We like to call it the labyrinth of frustration and confusion. It's really easy to get lost in there. It's constantly changing. You might have learned how to do something one week. You have no idea how to do it next week. And then the other thing is it's like you have no comparative data. You have no idea what other people are doing on social media to succeed. So you're kind of just doing everything on a wish and a prayer. Like, I'm just going to put something up there and hope something sticks, and we'll go from there. There's no real strategy behind it or understanding about what people are doing to succeed on it. So what is it that StreetText does? What is it? What are your options? So your option, if you're stuck in that labyrinth of confusion, is to hire an expert to do it all for you. So on this end of the spectrum, you can hire someone to do all of your social media ad campaigns for you. The problem with that solution is you're at the mercy of that expert's level of expertise. You also have no comparative data. So you don't really know, like, if I give that person X amount of dollars on Facebook, what's a reasonable expectation in terms of return? Like, how much should a lead cost in my market? What are other people getting for leads in my market? You don't really have a comparative value. You also don't have an understanding of like, what should I expect on social media? Like when someone clicks on an ad, what type of conversations should I expect? What type of return should I expect? When should I start to see this turn into some ROI? So a lot of the times you're just left in kind of this frustrating loop with this expert where they have all the control and you have no idea what to do next if things aren't working. On the other end of the spectrum, you could become that expert. We really believe that you can do anything you want to do. If you want to learn how to use the Facebook Ads Manager, you can learn how to do it. The question is, your most valuable asset that you own is your time and how you use your time. And the thing that's going to be required to become an expert on Facebook is time. You're going to have to constantly be updating your skills, learning everything. When Facebook made the big change coming into 2021 here, that required advanced kind of web tracking in terms of using conversion ads, you would have had to completely relearn that and figure that all out. So it's always trying to stay on top of everything Facebook's doing. We believe at the end of the day, and I think everyone can agree in our industry, that our time is best spent following up, and following up. We should be following up and nurturing leads. We should be reaching out and creating conversations. We shouldn't be trying to figure out where Facebook put that button this week and spending inordinate amounts of time trying to get our ads working. So what is StreetText? What is it that we do? We're kind of that in-between solution where you're not going to have to hire someone to do all of your Facebook ads for you, nor are you going to have to become an expert in order to be able to do it yourself. We're going to kind of mediate that relationship for you. So what we do is we connect your StreetText Trial account to your Facebook page to help you launch Facebook ad templates that we know work, that are already built out. So the power of that is you're also launching them on your page through your ad account, which is building your brand and your pixel. We're just helping you do it through our platform and making it easy for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to log into StreetText. You're going to click on funnels. When you click on funnels, we have already built out templates that we've tested and that we know work. We've put all the info out there. We've seen what people click on. We've done it in multiple accounts and multiple markets. So we can land on the copy and the images and the things that work. And then we make that into a template. So now you can simply select the template with your objective, whether it's buyers or listings or sellers. We're going to teach you how to split test that ad, because that's the one thing we don't have control over, is the way Facebook picks the audiences. So we might have a good template that we know gets good info, but we also have to account for the way Facebook does things. So we're going to show you how to split test an ad and set it up within 30 seconds. And then 24 hours later, you go in and you see which of those ads is getting you the best results. And then when you land on an ad that's working, you essentially just let the leads come in. And now my job turns to what it should be. How do I create meaningful conversation with these people? How do I stack value on what they ask for? How do I get them to know, like, and trust and grow with me? And that's part of the best things that we do. So we have our proven to ready to launch ad templates, but it's not just the ad that you're launching. You're also launching the landing pages and our campaign kicks off automation. So when the lead clicks on your ad on Facebook, they're already going to be put in a funnel that is sending them automated emails. Beyond trial, you have there's text messages that go out as well, but it's already built in there. And you just have to go in and put your personality on it. So it's all in one place. The best thing that we do is right here. Our community meets on masterminds and our Facebook group during weekly classes, talking about what am I doing with this lead to make it convert? Like, how am I working with this person to build relationship? And that's one of the most valuable things we do is, our community really shares the things and strategies that are working for them. So you can learn how to best work with these leads in order to get good results. So your kind of next step is going to be, what type of ad do I want to run during my trial? You're going to have 3 options. I'm going to have Marcus here go through those options with you in terms of which one you run. And then we'll walk through a kind of a split test and how you need to split test that. And we'll wrap it up with some Q&A and some need to knows.
Awesome. All right, on cue. So here's what you have access for in the trial. And just so you know, Facebook, StreetText, we've been around since 2015, generated millions of leads. We are a preferred marketing partner. That designation only comes when you spend a lot of money and, have generated hundreds of thousands of leads. So with that being said, we're always tuning in to Facebook and Instagram, knowing when things are about to change. Inevitably, they always do. And we're here for you when they do, like that 15-mile minimum radius that everybody has to work within. the Housing Discriminatory Act. All this stuff can affect the way you launch ads and generate leads. So we want to make sure that your best practices are first and foremost in front, so you can go out and work on your business. And the key is, I know you all want to be in more relationships, so at the end of the day, let's make sure that every single ad that we run can be tracked with the spend, because your trial right now is free, and the value you're going to get is to learn how to tap into Facebook with the marketing money you'll spend with Facebook, because Facebook is going to take your ad spend no matter what. That's what they do best. They spend your money. So let's be wise. Let's make sure that every ad you run is set up in such a way where you're tapping into the audience that you prefer. It's not just quantity of lead flow, it's quality of information as well, and then making sure you have best practices set up on the follow-up side. Because the worst thing you could ever do is think that this seller or buyer is going to be scrolling down their Facebook newsfeed today looking for your services. This is called interruption-based marketing. This is called digital door knocking. They are just scrolling down their Facebook feed like they do for hours every single day. And when they click, they think they're getting something automatically. And they should. But how do you present yourself authentically, genuinely, as someone who's a consultant, not a salesperson, is everything. So, going to give you that quick little, harsh reality. That's the key. If you come here and you have a bunch of ads already set up and your leads are coming and you're like, I can't talk to them, I'll show you why. Here's the key. So, as we step into this trial, we've got buyers and sellers and much more. We need to connect your Facebook ad account, your Facebook page, and your Facebook ad account, because that's how we're leveraging Facebook advertising. And then out of this, we'll be able to help you set up these ads, review your ads if you already have them, and give you best practices around setting up buyer ads and seller ads. And just knowing, with any one of these ads, you truly got to understand that 15 miles is already built into your targeting. So even if you tell Facebook, I want to target this town or city, they're automatically going to draw 15 miles around it, which is why we recommend best practice in an ad like this to leave it blank, leave the emoji there, don't even put in a city or town, because realistically, when you look at our targeting on the way we set up our ads, we always recommend dropping a pin so you can truly understand what 15 miles looks like and all the areas it encompasses. Just look at this example, Los Angeles, that also encompasses Pasadena and Burbank and Santa Monica and Torrance and everything else. And LA is huge, right? So something to consider. In some cases, that could drop you into multiple states. I've seen it in Washington, D.C., 15 miles, 3 states. It's pretty crazy. Okay, so the last part of this is just launching the daily ad spend. And, I have a gal who was like, I'm not getting anything. And I looked at her ads, and she's in La Jolla, which is like $1 million, $2 million, I don't know, dollar market, and she's spending $2 a day. I'm like, that's going to be the reason right there. So you got to understand that we are not just competing on Facebook and Instagram against real estate agents and brokers. You're auctioning out an ad against every single marketer in that space, an advertiser. So naturally, we got to adjust your ad spend, and that's why you have a coach to give you a realistic idea of what that is. Ideally, a good start is probably around $9 or $10, even though we've been doing that for about 6 years now. But then you're going to want to split that, which means 3 times that amount for the first 24 to 48 hours. And Logan will tell you about that concept shortly. That's really the way of gaming the Facebook environment to get you great results. Facebook and Instagram are your channels, and your estimated commission would specifically be what you think you're going to make on an average commission. It'll be more important to you over time as we're showing you ROI potential and what we think your max lead should be. And we think, conservatively speaking, you should be able to convert 1.5% of your leads easy. And I'm talking about if you're doing this for a year, that's way doable. And you're getting 5 times ROI on that investment. Okay, so a seller, the top 12 things you should do before you sell your home. This is kind of our shoe into your seller. Now, ideally, we would put you in a home value funnel. Something like what's your home really worth, or if someone were to buy your home, would you sell it? The type of enter your address, receive your home value. The ideal is that. But because of this recent change with Facebook, we had to step into a lead ad variation of it, because what I'll show you shortly is if you're going to capture addresses up front, you need a custom domain to do it. In this case, this is a lead ad, which is a Facebook lead capture form that when they click on your ad, it automatically captures their email, full name, and phone number. That's awesome, right? But you can't get the address that way. So we'll talk about how you get the address. The buyer lead ad is another great one that's working right now. Sometimes you get 3 to 5 times the amount of lead flow for these type of buyers, and we find out that half of these buyers are actually sellers because you're working the top of funnel. The top of funnel opposite to the bottom of the funnel, which is where people are searching, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor, Google SEO. This is not what they're searching. So oftentimes people will see what's out there with, in the back of their mind, they have to sell first. And so that's why this is such a great funnel as well. And then this is the seller conversion ad, what StreetText is known for. And this is the one that you would need to have your custom StreetText hosted domain, not a GoDaddy domain or anything for that matter. We have to actually get this set up for you. And when you do, you get to unlock this type of funnel, which is, I think, the bread and butter of StreetText, because if they click on an ad like this, it's not going into a lead ad experience. It's going to a dynamic, congruent experience from the image of the area that you're in itself, designed with that 15-mile radius in mind, to the address submission, followed by the email submission. They have to click on a box that says permission to be contacted by email. And then moving into, the condition of the property, which is a drop-down menu, age, updates, renovations, sell date. Are they just curious? Are they refinancing? Most people naturally, as a defense mechanism, will say just curious. And, naturally name and phone number come in next. So you're kind of gaining the trust in that process. And so, real quickly before I hand it off to Logan, I just wanted to tell you guys, you can have automations that look and feel like this, which are absolutely going to do nothing for you. They'll unsubscribe or they won't respond. Or you can kind of look at it as this idea of the first thing they should see and experience is you, even with something as simple as an email shooting out on your behalf. And so we're all about showing you, like, we have ads and funnels galore, in your full account, custom, new construction, everything you can imagine under the sun. They're all ranked in order of the lowest cost per lead across the board. Here's 1,000 people testing it here, 4,000 testing it here, all aggregated data to show you which are the best ones. And then as far as the ads are concerned, the beauty as we're ranking your cost per lead and how much you're spending is that you can go in there and really create the experience you want them to have within the automations and emails that are shooting out. The value of community, and they're getting to know and like you and trust you along the way. And most online leads on Facebook, they're not just going to simply say, come on over and list my home. They want to know that you're actually going to do something that's about serving and value. And that sometimes takes 6, 10, 12 touches, right? That's why you need these right things established. And we're here to actually work you through, because in our full accounts, we even we add in the SMS component, the AI that shoots out text messages to your leads. And then you begin the conversation there in role play. So the Facebook community, Brandon will talk about more, but this is why we need to connect with you on Facebook, so we can, drip on you ever so shortly, because it could feel like a fire hose in the beginning. We need to meet you. We need to make sure that you're willing to learn this way. It's not a set it and forget it program at all. If you just think you're going to set up an ad and, say goodbye, don't come to StreetText. I promise you. But if you love the idea of collaboration, having a coach and training this way and having a community to rely on will be a fit for you. All right, Logan, tell us about the split test.
Yeah, thanks, Marcus. So hello, everybody. I'm Logan, and just wanted to take the time here to let everybody know a few important little hacks, if you will. And again, we understand most of you guys will continue with StreetText long-term. That's fantastic. You'll get to learn all these different things as we go. Not everybody will be, continue during trial. And we want to make sure that we've left you guys at least with some interesting information, stuff that can help you regardless of where you're building your ads. Now, again, keep in mind, StreetText makes all this easier. That's kind of the idea, but you can still take a lot of the things that we teach you and do it elsewhere. And Ira always says it best in that you don't necessarily need us to do everything. You can absolutely do this all yourself. we just make it so much easier. And anytime something changes, we're here to kind of explain it to you. And one of the big ones that we like to let everybody know of is the idea of a 3-ad split test and how it quickly differs from a A/B test, which most people are assuming. Whenever we say split test, they assume A/B test. So I'll just quickly differentiate between the two. Now, an A/B test is, let's say, for instance, you're sending off 100 mailers and you're going to do your first 50 with white unbranded envelopes. The next 50, you're using your colors, your branding, you're going to write free gift inside, something like that. You switch it up. You send different materials. Now, whichever one gets the best responses, obviously, that's the one that you're going to continue going with moving forward. That's an A/B test. That's something that we here at StreetText have been doing for years and years and years and years and years. We take something, we change it a little bit, and we see which one works best. We then give you guys the templates to continue going forward. Now, what a split test is, though, and how it differs is that we know the material that works. We don't know the audience that's going to receive it or how that audience will receive it. So whenever you want one ad running long-term, it's always best to build and run 3 for a 24 to 48 hour period of time. The reason for that is every single ad is entirely reliant on the first 500 people it reaches, impressions, right? So as soon as somebody sees your ad, they're then categorized either good, negative, or neutral. If I see your ad and I scroll right past it, I do nothing, that's fine. I'm neutral. I have no impact on the ad's performance, but I'm calculated as one of your 500. Now, if I like your ad, share your ad, click on your ad, comment positively, do something Facebook deems as positive engagement, well, I'm on the good side of the scale. If I do something on the opposite end, mark it as spam, comment negatively, put an angry face on it, I'm on the opposite end. Now, after 500 people have been reached in your area, which is, again, typically 24 hours, at most 48, Facebook looks at your scale and says, okay, this one ad, not all 3, this one ad has more people on the positive end of the spectrum than the negative side. So it's a good ad. It's got positive engagement. They're going to charge you less money per click. Keeping in mind, you're not paying for leads, you're paying for clicks. So we need to make sure that that click rate is appropriate and that the click percentages are good and your cost per click is good. That's all very important. You can calculate that immediately within your first 24 hours, typically, of running an ad. Now, the 3 ads look the same, sound the same, feel the same. They're absolutely identical, but they're each reliant on a different group of 500 people, meaning that they're going to perform completely different from one another, not only statistically, but demographically as well. Statistically, you can see that with your eyes. That's great. Which one is looking the best, giving you the cheapest leads, all that, fantastic. But which one's getting you better leads? And the way that you can see this is that the positive end of the scale, again, that becomes your audience demographic. The people who first started taking positive action on that ad, Facebook says, okay, these people liked this ad. Let's continue finding a lookalike audience, similar people to what we've already seen. So it's very important to understand you don't need to do, a whole lot of work on this. When it comes down to it, build 3 ads, meet with your coach, will help you decide if they're working or not. And if they're not, turn them off and start again. It's testing, testing, testing until we find what works. Right now, I'm going to pass it over to Brandon and give him an opportunity here to go over a little bit more on the what's next. Again, that's just one tiny little example, one little trick that we've got a bajillion of. So Brandon, if you like, go ahead and explain to the nice people here how to get the rest of the information.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Logan. Hey, everyone. My name is Brandon. We're going to go over what's next here for you. So one of the first things you're going to want to do, just ask your coach, is our getting started guide. This is your playbook. This is going to answer a lot of those questions when you first start a trial, how to build the buyer ad, how to build the seller's 12 tips ad. At the bottom of the 12 tips ad, you're going to find that PDF. So make sure you go through that so you know exactly what kind of questions or those 12 tips are, so you can answer them if your leads have any questions regarding them. Second, make sure you add your coach on Facebook. This is where our community lives. This is our insider group. This is where agents are sharing what's working, how they're using BombBomb, how they're using HomeBot, all these different systems. It's really a collaborative community. You're not alone on an island with StreetText. You really have a group of people, coaches that really want to help you grow. And so make sure you add your coach on Facebook so we can get you into this group here. Lastly, we have a ton of classes Monday through Friday. We have a demo. You can come here for a refresher, as Ira had mentioned. We have a weekly mastermind on Wednesdays. That's the class that we highly suggest getting to every single Wednesday. It's the same time as this demo. It's where a community comes together. They're sharing their wins. They're sharing how they got a listing, how they followed up with that listing using BombBomb, HomeBot, all these different tools that are available. So make sure you go to these classes. The mastermind is definitely the one you want to try and get to every single Wednesday. As for pricing, we have 3 different plans. they're all billed up front for the term, and then they renew month to month after that term. So 3 months up front is $600. That renews on month 4 at $200. 6 months up front is $1,020, renews on month 7 at $170. And then our 12-month plan is $1,920, and that renews on month 13 at $160. This doesn't factor in your ad spend on Facebook, so you'll have to keep that marketing budget separate. You can work with your coach to think about what a budget would be in your area, as that's going to range from $9 a day to $15 a day, depending where you're located. But your coach can work with you on that one.